The Endless Golf Podcast, brought to you by Toyota.
And welcome into another edition of the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Joining me today is a very dear friend, a guy I've known for a long, long time, an avid golfer and a very good golfer, Bryan Taylor. And Bryan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Bobby. It's good to see you.
Always good to see you, my friend. And, we've had a chance a little bit to spend some time this winter together in Florida. And before we get started talking about your business, which is legendary Leaderboards, and it is a great business and you do a great job with that. Our golfers out there watching, it's almost spring in Ocean City, Maryland. They're going to be, cleaning off the clubs a little bit more. I know the weather's been pretty decent. A lot of guys have been playing, but talk about the difference playing golf in, say, the mid-Atlantic in the wintertime, and then coming down and playing in Florida. And really, even in the mid-Atlantic in the summer compared to playing Florida golf with Bermuda grass, it's really a different experience.
Completely different. The time of year right now, we're looking at anything in that 45 degree to 48 degree, as long as the wind's not going above 20. Yeah, that's it's all about the wind and all about the lows. It's not really about the highs. So
yeah, it's funny when you make your way down here a little bit, the greens tend to be a little bit faster. The conditions a lot different, and chipping the golf ball very different as well.
Very different. Everything's a little sticky. You got to watch that leading edge. You end up chunking it a little bit here and there, a little bladed. It all happens, a little easier back here in the Mid-Atlantic.
Well, we go back a long time, Bryan, back to the early 80s, back when you actually had a beach stand on 28th Street. Those were some fun days. And then you kind of started your own business. You actually worked at Fagers Island back in those days as well. Started your own business, had a carpet cleaning business, and then a cleaning business. And then how in the heck did you land in the golf business?
Yeah. So 19 years cleaning. We did a little restoration work, carpet cleaning, and all truck mounted units. Drove up and down Coastal Highway. All these condos carpets needed to get cleaned. So yeah, did that for a long time. Enjoyed that. Always had that blue collar mentality. But the golf thing popped up on an ad that I saw, believe it or not, in USA Today. And I called them, Scoreboards of America, located in Jacksonville, Florida. The following week, I flew down to see what their operation was like, and actually wasn't real impressed. But I understand what they were trying to accomplish. And then, so that was 2005. And then I knew that they needed to create a synergistic relationship between the advertisers that they were dealing with in the golf course and how they could promote one another. And that was the big key. Once I figured that out, then yeah, it was kind of off and running. So
it's kind of an amazing story because, as you said, you weren't really impressed with their operation, but the idea, obviously, what you thought was a very good one, and they end up going out of business, and you ended up taking that idea and running with it. And anybody who knows Bryan Taylor knows how hard of a worker he is. And you look at him right now, he's in his gym clothes. He just got back from the gym, which will surprise no one, I promise you. Whenever we're on playing golf, whether we're on golf trips or playing, he's up early in the morning. He's at the gym. He's working out. And then we go play golf. I don't know how the guy does it. You act like you're 25 and not 60, but I won't give away your age. But you're an amazing guy. But you worked really hard at your craft, and I got to tell you, legendary Leaderboards for our golfers out there watching and our viewers. If you've never and listening, if you visited the links at Lighthouse Sound or Glen Riddle Golf Club or Ocean City Golf Club, you've seen Bryan's work, the scoreboards that he has out there with the advertisements and the pictures, and also the television screens. It's really amazing. And you're on a number of courses. Talk to me about how many courses you're actually in with your scoreboards.
I believe I have 12 different golf courses that I'm working with right now. I worked with Virginia Beach National, down in Virginia Beach, Heron Ridge, all the way up to Deerfield, up in Newark, Delaware. But most of them are here. I do, go into Delaware somewhat, Hooper's Landing, the Rookery, but mostly here, Ocean City, Lighthouse, Glen Riddle. But yeah, so we put the boards in, and then over the last 19 years, it's kind of evolved into me creating somewhat of an outdoor environment via the television sets, the fire pits, creating an area with shade sails, that kind of thing, so that and that helped the golf course from the food and beverage operation. But the selfish side for me was it was people sitting around getting more views and more contact with all the advertisers. So it was an easy one.
And you know what I do? I'm in the advertising business, in the golf business per se, just like you. In some ways, we're competitors, but we're really not. We do business with some of the same people. Have relationships with all the golf courses, and I think that's one of the great things about our business, Bryan. We get to meet a lot of people, and after you're in the business a long time, you really form a relationship with them, more than just business, a friendship, and it's a trust factor as well. And I know you've got a lot of great clients that you think a lot of, and we've been fortunate to work in an area where there's a lot of really good people.
Yeah, no question. I am enamored by the story. I love sitting down and listening to them tell me how they got started, and kind of going through it. It's amazing, some of the stories I've heard over the time. And living down here, when I first got involved with golf, that just kind of filled a competitive void, and I needed something. But when I first started bugging the Hunt Crosbys and the Harry Nolans and Buddy Sass and those guys about why the ball does this and why the ball does that, and then I'd go to the range and try to work on it. But so many good pros. We're so fortunate. I mean, we really are. There's so many good guys here, so many good teachers. My instructor, Bob Crowther, I love the guy. He's so good. I've sent him so many people. I think the world of him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very fortunate. And, it's amazing. Also in our business, we do meet a lot of people, but we get to spend a lot of time on the golf course, and the thing that I think we've talked about over the years is we really get to do something that we both love, and we're involved with people that we care about and we enjoy being with. Bryan and I also are partners in the Ruark Golf League, which is a Wednesday league that we get to play in with a group of guys that are all characters. We have a lot of fun. Tom Ruark is our host, and man, I tell you what, they give Tom a hard time a lot in that group, and it's kind of amazing because we get to play some great golf courses. We have a lot of fun, and then the dinner at the end of the year is certainly legendary.
Yeah, that is a great league. I'm so glad we got involved with that. Yeah, they're so diverse. There's so many different kinds of people that are involved in that. But yeah, they're all good. I enjoy every single match, and it's very competitive. And Tom does catch a lot of heat from the guy. No question. That poor man gets beat up constantly.
Getting back to the part where you said, you're talking and you love the stories about the people that you've met, some of our clients over the years. I think one of the things that you and I both can come from that situation when we're selling advertising, we can appreciate what these people have gone through as business people. I remember when I was working at the old cable company, and I had the ribs and chicken business. Remember when I had Digger's Ribs and Chicken out where Trader Lee's was, and I had a place. So I had my own business. And I remember how hard it was and how bad I was at that business. But it's so hard to be good, particularly in the restaurant business. And I tell you, I learned a lot. I got a lot of respect for people who run restaurants and really run any business. So when we do go calling people, we come from a perspective of we know what it's like to be in business for ourselves and spend our money. So I think one of the things I know we've talked about over the years is we really appreciate the dollars that are spent with us, and we try to do as much as we can for the people who support us, for sure.
Yeah, there's no question. There's whether it's helping out with a charity event or them calling me needed a tee time, and I've been very fortunate with the golf courses helping me out a little bit there. Getting tee times for some of those people, and it doesn't happen often. And then for the most part, everybody kind of follows the guidelines that we've initially set up. But for the most part, it's been really good. But yeah, the stories and anything I can do on my end to help out the clients, I'm all about that. No question.
All right. Well, Bryan, we're going to take a quick break. Bryan Taylor from Legendary Leaderboards. We'll take a quick break, come back, and talk about your golfing career. And I know it's something you're not comfortable talking about, but you are a very, very qualified and very gifted golfer, and it's a craft you work hard at. We'll talk about that after this, so stay with us.
And now a word from our sponsor.
I love a good adventure, and my friends and family do too. So we all drive Toyotas, Tacomas for my rugged buds, and Corollas for my city crew. And I drive a RAV4 that I take camping, shopping, and basically everywhere else. We all picked our Toyotas because they're reliable and efficient and have amazing resale value, saving us money now and down the road, so we can make every day an adventure. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals and inventory. Toyota, let's go places.
And welcome back to the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Joining me today is my dear friend, Bryan Taylor from Legendary Leaderboards. And Bryan, we talked a little history. We talked about your business, and you do a great job with your leaderboards, with your scoreboards. You see several of those at some of the golf course we talked about, whether it's Lighthouse Sound, Glen Riddle, Ocean Pines, Ocean City Golf Club. So you really do a great job. But the thing I want to get into next is your golf game. And I've been amazed, and I've said this, we've been playing together for probably 30 years or so. And it was a situation when we started playing golf that we were all kind of figuring out a way. We were athletes trying to figure out a way to get better. And I've always been, once I started playing after a few years, I've always been in that mid-handicap 10 to 12 to 15 after I played a few years. I've gotten down to 8, 7. But the one guy that I was always amazed by were really two, were you and Naylor Harrison. You're two guys that, and you're in particular, because you worked really hard at your game and you got a lot better. As you know, it's really hard to get down in those single digits, down to that 1 and 2 neighborhood. And you were able to do that. But talk about the work and the time that you had to put in to really become a better golfer.
So that part of it's the easy part, I think. I mean, I enjoy the practicing and
I don't.
I do though. I like that part of it. And whether it's, working from 100 yards in or, from 50 yards in or bunker shots or what, I enjoy every aspect, even the putting and, every part of that. And so that part of it, if I get 30 minutes and I'm on my way home, there's enough golf courses close by, I can pop in and, bang that out, so that part of it, that was the easy part. I thought it was actually the competitions, the nerves and dealing with that part that, I had to come to grasp with. I had to come to grasp with understanding I was going to lose way more than I was going to win. And that was something that, that kind of bit me early on. That was a hard thing.
And Bryan, your background is you wrestled at Bloomsburg University and were a very good wrestler and wrestled with a lot of great guys but over the years. And I will tell you, that's a tough sport if anybody knows wrestling. And that had to help you along the way as well, because like you said, in order to be good in wrestling, you've got to be dedicated. And I feel like it's the same way in golf.
It is, but a part of it, most of it comes from my upbringing, honestly. I grew up in a military family, and my dad was a full colonel, and he was on the list to become general when he retired, and then he went to work for Six Flags for a number of years. And it started there with my father and my mother. And my mother was actually the driving force, quite honestly. She was the one that kind of gave all the kids, kept us in line, and told us if we weren't hustling. And I mean, she was tough, man. She let it hang out. So, from that standpoint, it was that, and I lost my train of thought there for a second, but yeah, but absolutely, it was my parents and the upbringing more than anything, that made everything else easy to practice.
And you talked about the nerves, and you've played in the Maryland Open, you've played in the Delaware Open, you played in a lot of very competitive events through the years, and then you played in some member guests. And I think you and I have always taken the approach in the member guests and they're more of a fun event. And when you get into the more serious events where you're playing in the steeper competition, it really sets you to a different level. And you talked about it. You really have to figure out a way to grab hold of your nerves, because hit one bad shot and that can kind of change you around. Your mind can certainly play tricks on you, that's for sure.
So that part was easy for me too, because I hit a lot of bad shots. So I get comfortable in places that most people aren't.
That's true, Bryan.
Yeah, I was never known for being the straightest driver of the ball, so I'm still working on that. But yeah, being comfortable with that. But the nerves part, the 5-foot downhill slider, and dealing with that part. And knowing that you're in contention, and you're going to fail. Yeah, I mean, it's a part of it. You are, but those times when you don't, you just embrace that moment. It just, you're proud of yourself. You feel good about it, and it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, yeah, you take it on. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. When you cross that finish line, you played well, and you can win a golf tournament, and some of the different tournaments we play in, there's you have a partners, and some you have blind draws, and you may know your partner a little bit, you may know him very well. That brings a whole nother dynamic into the situation. Golf's an individual sport, but some of the events we play in, it's a partner, and sometimes the partner thing, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. That's for sure.
Oh, no question. I am more exhausted after those than just worrying about me. Those
Right.
things, trying to keep them calm, trying to keep me calm. And then when you see the meltdown occurring and trying to stop the train wreck from going worse, you don't want it to go completely out of control. So you're trying to still in the moment say, it's okay. It's okay. And inside you're dying, so, but yeah, that's a part of the game too. And, kind of not letting everybody else see that you're, feeling the nerves. That's big. So.
Absolutely. Well, you certainly helped me along the way with my game. You've been a great player here on the shore. You've won the club championship at Ocean City a couple times. At Glen Riddle, I think you've won there as well. And when you teed up with Bryan Taylor, and he alluded to this, he might hit it in the trees dead right. He might hook it somewhere left. But he's not out of the golf hole. I will promise you. Until that hole is over, if you're playing match play, you think you got him. Well, guess what? You don't. And I think that's the biggest compliment. This guy can chip and putt the lights out of a golf ball. And I think that's your biggest attribute is you can like we say, you can make chicken salad out of chicken, whatever. You know what I mean? So you've done pretty well as far as that goes, for sure.
Yeah, yes. Listen. I get it, and I've tried to get away from that, what everybody thinks. It's true though, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress still, I'm trying to get away from. So, but those days though, when I am keeping it inside the tree line, I feel real comfortable about scoring. So
yeah, you probably feel kind of weird when you're in the fairway all day. That's for sure.
Sometimes,
you know what?
sometimes.
I've got my saying, Bryan, if you're born round, you don't die square. I don't know if you're going to be the #1 in fairways hit or greens in regulation, but I tell you what, you'll be right up there with getting the ball in the golf hole, and that's really all that matters.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So.
Well, look, man, it's really great catching up with you, and thanks for hanging out with me today on the podcast. Bryan Taylor from Legendary Leaderboards, a great guy, a great friend, and it's always great spending some time with you, my friend.
Thanks, Bobby. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you right here on the Unscald Podcast. So long, everybody.
The Endless Golf Podcast has been brought to you by Toyota.